Hey, what's up everybody? So it is the 4th of July weekend and here we are at the beautiful Columbia River Gorge, particularly at the Historical State Park region. And if you guys remember last time, I think it was like either last year or the year before, where we had come by to visit the Columbia River Gorge, particularly to go see the Spirit Falls as well as some other hikes around the area such as Beacon Rock State Park. But unfortunately during that time, it was not open yet because of COVID. But anyways, here we are again, and we had made reservations to go camping at one of their campgrounds here. And I do want to say that we had made these reservations back in January, I think towards the 3rd or 4th week of January. And by then, most of the sites have already been filled up. So I would highly recommend, if you guys are planning on doing any type of camping, usually this is a general rule, if you guys plan on doing any type of camping, it's good to make your reservations early, because a lot of times during the summer, maybe even early fall, things do get picked up really quickly and have a good time. And I want to say that the prices for the campground was about $27 per campground. I think you're allowed either 2 or 3 tent sites per campsite, so we do have about 3 tents. We did end up booking just 2 sites, so total price came out to about, I think, $68, because $27 plus like an additional like $8 like online fee that you have to pay or some crap like that. But anyways guys, one of the things I do want to mention, as you can clearly see that I'm holding my jacket close enough so you guys could hear me in the microphone, is that super windy here in the Columbia River Gorge area. And as a result, hopefully you guys don't mind the wind, but when we were sleeping, like for example last night, yeah, you guys want to see how windy it is? Like listen to this, just listen to this. Huh?
Wait, where the hell is it?
It's so windy right now. It sounds like there's a hurricane here. Woo-hoo. Ow. We got into our tent and all you hear is just rustling and just the loud clanging of like the wind on the tent. So highly recommend, if you guys do end up making a reservation here, definitely bring some earplugs, because it's gonna get really loud. And one other thing I do want to mention is that there are a couple of trains that run by throughout the middle of the night that do pass on their cargo, so definitely earplugs do help. So all right, let's go ahead and take a look at the weekend and see what we got to do for this weekend. Yeah, so we do have plans to go visit the Guler ice caves as well as the Panther Creek Falls. And because again last time Beacon Rock State Park wasn't open due to COVID, I want to go ahead and check out that area as well, primarily because it's apparently a really good place to go ahead and get a good vantage point of the Columbia River Gorge. And a couple of other things that I actually did not know about is that this area is well known for their wineries. So depending on how much time we have left, we want to go ahead and stop by and take a look at some of the wineries and have some wine tasting. So all right guys. We, right here, finally made it to the Guler Ice Cave. And I just want to say one thing is that, when we're making our way from the Columbia River Gorge Historical State Park, driving our way up towards Trout Lake, beautiful drive, because at some point you're gonna be making your way down west and you're gonna go ahead and see like Mount Adams on, is that Mount Adams? No, Mount Hood. Sorry, Mount Hood on basically the left side as you're driving down, plus with the river gorges in between, and all these other like people like going kite surfing, for example. Really beautiful scene. But one other thing I do want to mention is that when you're making your way up towards Highway 14 towards Trout Lake, you're gonna come to an area where you're gonna see Mount Adams, like beautiful Mount Adams. And never been there before, never seen it, but one day we'll go ahead and make a trip to Mount Adams. And highly recommend you guys stop at that signage that says Trout Lake with Mount Adams in the background. Just a nice cute little family picture for those of you who have family. But one thing I want to say is when you guys are finally made it to the Guler Ice Cave parking lot area, you are going to need a Northwest Forest Pass. So your Discover passes here aren't going to work. If you don't have it, just go ahead and pay the $5 day use fee. So right, let's go ahead and take a look at the Guler Ice Caves. So pretty cool cave so far, guys. Highly recommend you guys get some like micro spikes if anything, because the floor here is really icy. But really cool. Like check out some of these like cool little like ice formations and all that. Not too crowded, which is really, really nice. And I'm not too sure how far this cave is gonna go, but otherwise, make sure you wear a nice, like, warm jacket because it's gonna get really, really cold in here. So yeah, that was a really, really cool experience. We spent about 20 to 30 minutes there, primarily just watching for our footing, right? Because the area is pretty much icy all around. I mean, granted, there are some areas like rocks where you could actually step and be okay, but for the most part, we just had running shoes, nothing as far as like good traction is concerned. But yeah, check out if you get a chance, make sure you guys go ahead to the back and just check out some of the other cool like ice formations that are located in the Guler ice caves. But yeah, really, really cool experience, guys, really cool. All right, guys, after 40 minutes of a bumpy ride, we finally went ahead and made it to Panther Creek Falls. I do want to mention that when you guys get here, there's not going to be an obvious signage of like where the trailhead is. But what you're going to notice is that if you followed my route so far, you're basically going north, going counterclockwise, making your way towards Panther Falls. You're going to see a large little area on the left with some, there might be some cars nearby. And just continue to basically just park somewhere there, and you're gonna start walking down the hill. And the trailhead's gonna be basically on to right, and I'll go ahead and show you guys in the video because there's not gonna be an obvious sign. So go ahead and make your way down, and you'll have a chance to go to two options. The first one is just a viewpoint, fantastic. If you don't feel like walking, so it gives you a good spot of basically looking at the Panther Creek Falls. But if you guys are feeling a little bit more adventurous, a little bit more like I want to go and see more, go ahead and check out the bottom of the falls, which is where we're actually heading right now. So yeah, let's go. So we finally made it to the bottom of the Panther Creek Falls. Took about 10 minutes max, we'll say 10 minutes max to get down here. Not looking forward to going up, but holy crap, it is amazing. Once you start making your way down towards the trailhead, towards Panther Creek Falls, you could already start seeing just how magnificent, how majestic, and how big. It's huge. It just reminds me of something like Victoria Falls or something, or like, Angels Falls. Obviously, I'm exaggerating, but it's still a beautiful sight to see with your own eyes. It's simply amazing. Everyone can do this, not really hard. Maybe going up might be hard, but for the most part, well worth the drive, well worth the time to go ahead and check this out. That's awesome. All right, guys, so after doing all of our ice caves, all of our Panther Creek Falls visit, we went back to our campground to go ahead and do some wine tasting for the rest of the day. And like I mentioned before, there are a lot of places you could actually go for wine tasting. And so one of the places that we ended up going to was a place called Jacob Williams' winery, which is only about a 5 to 6 minute drive from our campsite. Closes at 5 o'clock, but most of the wineries here close anywhere from 5 to 6 o'clock p.m. Otherwise, it's a good way to kind of end the day. And I figured tomorrow, July 4th, we'll go ahead and check out the Spirit Falls, which I actually did last year. If you guys haven't seen that video, go ahead and check it out. But we'll go ahead and do Spirit Falls tomorrow, as well as Beacon Rock State Park before we head back towards Seattle. Hey, what's up, guys? So before we start making our way back up towards Seattle, we want to go ahead and stop by the two locations that I talked about earlier. First one was Spirit Falls, and now I came here, I think it was either last year or the year before, where I did my the best of Portland in like 3 days, right? If you haven't already seen that video, go ahead and check it out. It's actually surprisingly my #1 rated ranked view of all time apparently. But anyways, one of the reasons why I love Spirit Falls is the fact that one, very, very secluded. Not a lot of people actually know about it. And I do want to mention, when you're inputting your GPS for Spirit Falls, there's not going to be a designated spot to tell you park here, right? So you want to go ahead and make sure that when you input it to your GPS, you want to look out for an area where you might see some maybe a few cars, park along the road, and start making your way down towards the trailhead. Again, there's no sign to indicate where the trailhead is, so just go ahead and watch my video to find out where the trailhead starts. And I do want to mention that the trail itself, it's pretty easy. Going down, distance-wise, it's pretty easy. I think it's about 0.8 miles to 1 mile, less than a mile going down. But the issue that most people have a hard time with is the fact that it's very, very steep. So I would highly recommend, get some good hiking shoes. Otherwise, you might slip and fall a little bit, but make sure you go ahead and use the trees, use the rocks, and just kind of wedge your foot in between. Make sure you don't fall. But once you get down here, beautiful, beautiful, magnificent view of just Spirit Falls. And the last time I came here, the water wasn't as prevalent, it wasn't as strong, but because we came in during the summertime where perhaps all of the glaciers, all of the ice has already started to melt, we have a lot more of a flow of a waterfall along Spirit Falls. So highly recommend if you guys are coming along the Columbia River Gorge, make sure you guys make Spirit Falls one of your destinations to go to because you won't regret it. Won't regret it. Hey guys, so we finally made it to Beacon Rock State Park, and I have to say, I'm actually glad that I was able to do this time because last time I came here, I think it was 2020 COVID year, and because of the fact that the vaccines weren't available yet, life wasn't back to normal, they actually closed the state park down. But the fact that it was open, obviously since we were here, definitely had to come by and make this a trip. And I want to say that the hike itself is pretty easy. It's a 1.8 miles round trip, and a couple things. Obviously, you need to discover paths to park here safely without getting a ticket. But I have to say the path itself is pretty straightforward. You just basically go up the hill or following trail path. I want to say though, really beautiful like trail formation. Like when you start making your way up, you can start seeing how like they basically devised and added all of these bridges, these custom whatever like bridges that they end up making to get yourself up here, and really intricate design. I do want to say though, a little bit scary if you're a little bit afraid of heights, because if you look down, obviously you basically have just the cliffside, on your side. But otherwise, it took us about 20 minutes to get up here, not too long, and beautiful. The one slight disappointment I have to say is that when you get to the top, you actually don't quite get as good of a view as you would think you would. Basically, depending on when you're coming up the mountain, you'll actually get a better view of looking at the Columbia River Gorge based off certain angles that you were climbing up on the rock face. But otherwise, beautiful area. And I just want to say that the area I'm in right now, I had to cross the fence over, walk a little bit along the spine of the rock. A little bit scary. That's why I'm kind of having a hard time, thinking about what I have to say because my legs are shaking because it's a little scary. If you could take a look, kind of just surrounded by a cliff. So anyways, guys, that's pretty much it for our trip for the Columbia River Gorge as far as the camping is concerned. I know I did some things that were really unique to basically everyone can do. For example, going places like the Guler Ice Cave, the Panther Creek Falls. Not a lot of real hiking involved, but we want to make this a very simple trip. But there are, again, a lot of places that you guys can see if you guys have never been to this part of the country before. Places like Multnomah Falls, which is basically right across the Columbia River, not too far from here, maybe a 15-minute drive. Generally gets pretty crowded, but if you haven't seen my previous video on like the best of Portland, go ahead and check that out because there are a lot of other places that we did not go to during this trip. So anyways, guys, hopefully you guys have a fun, safe 4th of July holiday. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Take care.